got it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Chris here. In today's video I thought we'd take a look at creating beats with the Ableton Push 2. Let's go. Alright, so the headphones on as usual. Apologies for any noises in the background. My roommate's writing some music and there's also some construction, so there's only so much I can do. To get us started, I'm just gonna open a blank session. Clearly nothing loaded up on here, we just have the one audio track and there's nothing on Ableton. So as part of this video I'm going to try as best as possible to stick away from actually touching the computer, because this actually provides so much in terms of hands-on capability. So let's get started. Hopefully you can see this. I've got my GoPro up here capturing from on top. So where I would normally start is by creating a track, and I'm going to create a MIDI track which is selected. And if I go into my, let's see, my packs, I've downloaded these drums off the Ableton website, the drum booth samples, and what's really nice about them is they come in a variety of numbered pads, 16, 32 and 64. And what's great about this is obviously it kind of gives you something to experiment with all the pads available. So I'm just going to load up this special kit, and as you can see it kind of loads like a chunk of it, but if we press layout should open that up. So now I've got all the pads and this is great. Awesome sounding acoustic kit. There you go. So that's nice. We've got a kit easily available to us that we can play. So let's put down a loop real quick. I'm gonna just make sure I've got my fixed length on 2 bars. Okay, let's set the tempo. What are we at? 90. All right, let's do this. I might extend this to 4 bars. All right. Okay. This, keep it on 16ths just to keep it light. Okay, so we've got our loop in there. Fantastic. Let's add another track and take this further. Okay, so now I'm going to make use of my collections. I've got in here my favorite instruments, and I can just select operator, which is the Ableton synthesizer. Nice. It's basically just a nice, in this case, I'm just using it as a sub. It's got a good sine wave, I guess. All right, let's put down this sub. Sweet, let's add another track. Get maybe a piano on there. I could use the Spitfire Labs, personal favorite of mine. Let's see, Labs, Bosch. Okay, we've got that loaded up. I could quickly add some reverb and delay from our sends. Maybe speed that up. Okay. Okay, let's put down this piano line. Okay, great. So we've got that locked in. Let's add some effects to the piano to kind of spice it up a bit. I'll just add a device, go into my favorite plugins, and there should be a cassette plugin. Let's see what we got. If we go into C, cassette. Nice, and we can have a play with this and see what it sounds like. Okay, sweet. Added that. Next, I'll add a pad to give a bed that everything can kind of sit on top of. And then we can work on some arrangements and we'll try keep it still internally on this. Let's go. Add track. I'm going to go to my collections, instruments. Let's add Juno. Yeah, why not? Gonna add some reverb to that. As well as some shaper box. Right, let's look at some arrangements real quick. So if I go on session here, you can see those are the 4 pieces of audio, the loops that I've made. So actually we can get rid of the audio track. We don't need that. So now I've got that. Perfect. So how we can build this is I can either take these 4 and I can move them to the arrangement view, or I can work in the session view and kind of work in this vertical manner. So I thought, why not try both? I think it would be beneficial to kind of learn how both of them work. So if I stop all the clips, so what I want to do is set these up so that the song builds and I can kind of trigger every element as it comes up. So to do that, I have to figure out what I want to start the song with. So in this case, I think I'm going to start with bass and drums. And actually for the sake of this, I'm just going to rename the tracks so it'll be easier to identify what I'm looking at. Okay, great. Rename them. You can see them here. Makes my life a lot easier. So to start with drums and bass, I'm going to move these tracks down. So if I duplicate these down, so I've got those there, and then I can delete those first 2. And now if I trigger these, I've got drums and bass. Let's duplicate those so they're also continuing. So say I don't want the synth pad to come in straight away, I can just have the piano. And say for after that, maybe I want the piano to come out, just the synth pad to come in. that's kind of the main concept. You're building downwards. Obviously, you can kind of take in and take out tracks or regions as need be. So in this case, this is how you would go about building in the session view. So you've got two approaches on how you can move this from the session view into the arrangement view. I can either record it on, it kind of looks something like this. So as you can see there, it's clearly kind of placed out the arrangement for me, and I can go in and further tweak it and cut out bits, you know, adjust it as I please. The other method is that I just simply click and drag the tracks in and build it like that. So say I've pasted all the clips, I can go in, I say I don't want these in the beginning, I don't want to start with that, and then I want to go to that, you know, a similar approach to how I had, and then it will finish with just drums and bass, and then lastly finish on bass, and I can actually pull this back, adjust it, whatever. So that's the kind of second approach to converting one to the other. Personally, if it was up to me, I would use the arrangement view. Sometimes I go to this because it's a bit fun when you have everything laid out, like if you have a template or something and all the tracks are already there, it's great and quick to kind of bust it out through this session view. But you know, that depends what you're into and how you prefer to work, so I would recommend trying both. Okay, I'm a bit tired of those drums, so I'm going to change it up with something a bit more trappy and more modern, I guess. So let's see if I add a new track. I go into my collections, and I'm actually just going to add a blank drum rack. I'll do that from there. So that's added to there. If I go into here, okay, so clearly there's nothing in there because I haven't loaded any samples. So let's do that. If I go onto one pad and I click add device, I can go into my samples, favorite drum sounds. I can get my sample. I can then move on to another pad, get a snare. Let's get some hats. This also allows me to use the repeats. I'll keep the accent button on so it doesn't have any velocity, it's just straight up 100% volume. You get the idea. Let's quickly add one more hat sample. Get an open hat in there. So sometimes this thing happens where you're trying to add your samples to the pad and it just ends up creating like a sampler with just that one sound, as opposed to just giving it the one pad. To avoid this, just make sure at the top you've got not the drum rack selected, but either your sample here or your simpler. That will just ensure that when you're adding it, it's not turning it into a whole sampler itself from the one sample. It's just keeping them on the individual pads. Alright, I'm just going to add this to the middle of the beat. I'll keep the drums in just so I have something to keep in time with. And let's add some kick and snare. Alright, great. Let me just loop that up. Actually, we'll quantize it. Make sure it's tight. 16ths. We'll get some hats on top of that as well.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm making progress. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate the track. Gosh. Clear that, and now let's add our hats. All right. Get that volume going. Bit of panning maybe. There we go, got our drums. Clear out the old drums. Might just put in a bit of that ride, actually, it's quite nice. I think I'm going to top this off just by adding one more layer, maybe a synth or something to kind of bring it all together. And yeah, that will be about it for checking out the push today. So let's quickly dive into that. I'll just add another track, MIDI track, collections. Okay, so actually, if I go into my collections, to my instruments, I can load up a simpler that has nothing on it, but I can go into browse and let's find, I have in my samples. Warp this, so if we go to here, warp. Alright, I think we got it. Okay, okay, alright. Well, that's basically it. This was a brief introduction to getting started with the push and maybe, you know, how I tend to kind of get my ideas flowing, safe to say. But I'm sure we'll probably do some more videos on this because there is a lot you can do with it. And I do have a lot of fun creating with it. So we'll save that for the next one. Once again, I've been Chris Vella. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe and all that good jazz. I really appreciate it. And I love, you know, the feedback you guys leave me in the comment section below. So thank you for that. And I will see you on the next one.